Hey y'all, it's Shimdi. So I'm a creative coach helping creative people unleash their creative potential into the world. And I recently connected with Lauren. She is a friend of mine who hosts a podcast called Shaking the Table. And she's 25, she's hosted a podcast for 2 years. And there's so many people that I know in my personal life, but also on the internet, who have told me,
hey, I want to do this creative thing, and you're really motivating me to do it.
But I know a number of you all have not actually done it yet. So I'm hoping my conversation with her will give you all some additional inspiration and that kick in the pants that you need to actually get your act together. And if you want that person to be me, who is supporting you in doing this, go ahead and reach out at the email below and we can have a free 30-minute call and see if we would be a good fit for each other. All right, let's go ahead and get into this interview. Before we do, give this video a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll be back with you all at the end. First off, let us know your bio. Name, where are you from, your age. We know you have the youthful glow, but that doesn't mean anything with like you could be 15, you could be 40 and still look exactly like this. So let us know, who are you, what do you do, why, etc.
Yes. Hi everyone, I am Lo, aka Lolo Be Known, aka Lauren Taylor, which is my real name. I'm 25 years old. Well, I'll be 25 next week, so I don't know when you're gonna air this, but February 28th. Hey Pisces. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, but I work out of New York City. I am a journalist by day, but on weekends and at night, your girl is a podcast host. I do tarot and astrology, all things really like digital and creative. That is my repertoire. So hello y'all, I'm excited to be here. And Chimbi, I'm so happy that you picked me. Hello, let's get started.
Yes, okay, so the main reason I want to talk to you is because you're very young and you have a podcast, I think is awesome. And there's so many people who want to be where you're at straight up. They're like, I have a podcast idea, but they have various fears and things that are stopping them from actually trying. I would love to hear what your journey has been. When did you first have your podcast idea? And what was it like to go from having that first idea to actually making it happen?
Okay, so when I was a kid, I actually had 3 different YouTube channels because I went through this era of people need to see me because I thought I was so funny. And I was inspired actually by Amanda Bynes and having the Amanda Show and having a woman host her own thing, and it's like comedy. But the video aspect is what really makes me nervous because even though people compliment me on the way that I look, I was very insecure. Growing up, I was like, I really want to have like a radio show. So the focus is on what I'm saying versus like what I look like. And then around 2015 or 2016, I heard a couple of podcasts. So from like 2015 to 2017, I sat on this idea of, I really could try a radio show. And I remember because I went to University of Maryland, I walked into the campus radio station and I had my show idea, I had my pitch, I was dressed and I was ready to go. And I chickened out.
Really?
I left. I was so, and what they were doing was they were doing like signups or so. I can't remember how it worked. It was like some kind of sign up, but I just remember walking in and I heard people talking about their show and something in me was like, leave. I was, yeah. It was that fear of, I think I have a fear of success, which I learned in therapy of what does it really mean for all of my dreams to come true? Because sometimes we do things to self-sabotage when things are going really well in our lives because we're used to the chaos. So I was used to like being in this comfort zone and having people not pay attention to what I said or having people not know my personal life or anything that was going on. So I was like, why would I have a show and put myself out there? So I was out of there. Like I ain't grabbed no shoes and nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life. One day in 2018, I was like, you know what? It's like next year, love, 2019, you gonna start your podcast. So go ahead and call your friends and get some pep talks. And I had a little journal. Oh, here it is right here. Yay. My little journal where I was writing down like all of my very first episode ideas, who my potential guests were. I was trying like anything I could to come up with ideas. If you're watching this and you're like, how do I start? Just start. Like call your friends and be like, what's one topic that we know so much about? And get them like on Zoom call because you can record Zoom. You just have to do it because I was overthinking every little detail. And that's what made me not start because I was too busy being like, oh, well, what about this? Or what if people don't listen? And
tell us about that moment where you went from overthinking to action. Because I feel like there are many people who have heard that advice of like, just start, but there's something holding them back. And that was you until it wasn't you. What was that moment like?
For me, when I realized that I was the one in my way, I got to a point where I was like, this is a new year. I've been holding on to this idea literally since I came up with it, however many years ago. Either I'm going to keep talking about it and not being about it because I get upset with people like that. And so at one point I just got annoyed and I was like, just go buy a mic. Like you can figure out how to work it later. You're smart enough. You went to journalism school. Like you can figure out how to edit. So I went to Target and I was like, if I don't find the mic, that is a sign.
Oh, interesting. You were still looking for ways out.
Girl, they had mics in every color. So somebody somewhere was like, if you don't get this daggone mic and start this podcast, I'm gonna whoop your behind. So you have to have drive and motivation, but then there's also an element of creativity. And I think like I had the drive, I had the motivation, and I had the creativity to complete this triangle. And I was like, let's do it. Because before I had the creativity, but I didn't have the motivation, or I didn't have the drive to keep it going. So you need to have all three of those. I would say like do something out of your comfort zone first, like a challenge, something that challenges you that's not this. And then I feel like it'll motivate you to be like, if I could do that, I could do that. Let's do it. So I build myself up to things. I'm like, okay, first I'm going to post a good picture of myself because I look cute. Boom. Then I'm gonna work out. And as you kind of complete these little steps, you work your way up and you build that confidence to getting to this big, scary thing. And so I recorded the episode that same day and I just did it.
Yes.
Best of luck to me. I don't know.
So much of what you're saying is resonating. One is that idea of like,
let me make one small step in the direction of where I want to go. Because I similarly, before I started my YouTube channel, thought about it for years, told people for years I was going to do it.
I knew it was a problem when I was doing a hair on the side in DC.
And I had a hair client and I told her like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel like around hair. And she was like, oh yeah, you told me that last time.
And I was like, oh, this is becoming a thing I say and don't do. And that's when I was like, okay, we're not doing that no more.
And right. Similarly, I know there's a journey. There's going to be a journey before I start. I know my first video won't be perfect, but I know I want it to be very good.
And I saw a video that said, it's not so much about the camera, it's really about the lens. And so I bought this like $300 like Sigma lens without even having the camera. And I was like, this is me putting my stake in the ground. I'm going to start this thing. And this is my first investment. And around the way that we build things up over time, like it just all supports growing that confidence and growing that ability. Like, yes, I can do things. I can decide I want something and make it happen, and that can just like snowball and grow and grow.
So I want to hear more about, we talked previously because we were actually on a podcast. We were on your podcast, Shaking the Table.
Y'all check it out. We had such a good conversation. We were talking about just some of those challenges you had and actually just the logistics of starting it up. What were some of the challenges you faced as you were starting it up, and how did you address those challenges?
I think a lot of the challenges were around like the technicality of everything. I had classes in journalism and I know like how you speak or how you do scripts or how you do that. But everything was for TV. So it was kind of like me relearning how to do everything on the technical side. Okay, what program supports like editing? So how do I get someone else's audio and like mesh it with mine? And how do I make the level sound right? Like if one person's really loud and I'm really quiet, like there's so many things that I overthought. But then I had to tell myself every step of the way, there's either going to be a free resource or there's going to be something where you can use a bunch of different emails. Use some trials. My podcast cost me about $100 to start. I used to use like regular headphones like this. If you record by yourself, you can record in your voice memo or whatever it's called on your iPhone, upload those to your Google Drive directly from your phone, and then you can get onto a computer and edit or have someone else edit it. But the microphone that I got from Target was $49. So I had to get a hosting site. So I use Buzzsprout. If you're a person like me who only does 2 episodes a month, so bi-weekly, that costs $12.
Yeah, to me, I'm like, how do you go from talking to yourself into your phone or into your mic to someone going on Spotify or Apple Music and seeing the podcast episode you just created?
Yes. So after several hours on YouTube, so basically I record something on my phone, I upload it to a Google Drive, and I go into Adobe Audition. If you don't know how to use Adobe Audition, there are free YouTube courses online. But initially when I started, I was like, I don't know how to edit this. So I just did it all in one take. I literally went and wrote a full script. And I read the script.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the first 2 episodes is me reading a script. You can hear me have moments where I almost messed up, but then I'm like, girl, you can't mess up because you don't know how to edit. But yeah, and then there's something called an RSS feed that they give you on Buzzsprout. You copy that link to Apple, to Deezer, to Spotify, to SoundCloud, to Amazon, Alexa. So in the click of a button, literally a copy and a paste, I was on every single website.
I love it. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi from the intro and later the outro. Have you given this video a thumbs up yet? I would love that. Truly I would. And also comment below, like, what are your favorite podcasts? What is the creative thing that is on your heart that you should be starting, but you're still talking about it? Let us know in the comments so we can lovingly shame you into actually starting it. Okay, back to the video.
So what has been the most rewarding part about having a podcast? I think many people know they want to do it because they have things that they want to
say. And I think hopefully they're like, my words will help people. But
in doing of it, what has been the most rewarding part?
I thought that I was going to be helping other people. You know, when people see your journey and they're like, oh, I relate to that. But actually, it's been more helpful for me than anybody else because I hear my own growth. I hear the way I used to think, and I hear how I've grown through therapy, through battling with depression, through, these feelings of unworthiness. And so as I become more confident and as I stand in my power more, I sound more powerful. The topics that I talk about have way more depth. So we're not just talking about dating. We're talking about how all these external factors are weighing on you that then impacts how you date. Not only am I more intentional about the things that I'm speaking about, I'm also speaking with a little bit more passion than I would have normally. It definitely kind of helps me. Yes,
You said this would happen.
I'm on a Zoom call. Yeah. I was on my flow. Dang it.
You're all
What
good.
was I saying? So I become more like intentional about the things that I speak about. And I think that for me, it's been so helpful to listen back and be like, girl, who is that? When I used to talk about self-care is not just, oh, I'm going to put these cucumbers on my eyelids and I'm going to spend a bunch of money on myself. No, it's like, do you love yourself enough to remove all the energy vampires? Do you love yourself enough to ground yourself and to become more spiritual or to take care of yourself? Like, how's your health? It's not just about the outside. You also have to work on this inner self. And so as I've been podcasting, I'm like, I definitely have become a whole other person. And I was always this inside. I just think that it peeled away like these layers of an onion. And I love it here now.
I want to hear about how you actually consistently upload. I know when I first started, I was great in the beginning.
And then when my life changed, my YouTube changed with it, and my why became less clear. And so I had less of that motivation to actually create content consistently. And then once that cleared up again, now I'm doing twice a week, which has been like amazing for me. But I'm curious for you.
Girl, listen. So, but I'm curious for you, like, how has your consistency changed?
And what is that tied to? Like, how do you maintain this now bi-monthly schedule?
Oh my God, what a process, first of all. Like, the fact that you even do twice a week, I don't have range. When I originally started, I was like, I'm going to do episodes every week. I had 10 topics. Girl, I was like, 10 weeks, boom, we out here. That's not realistic. When you work in media, any form of media, especially news, which is where I was in a local news station trying to do weekly episodes. Some days with the news, it's quiet. Some days with the news, you got people running up in the fucking Capitol. Sorry for like people running up in the Capitol. And you are like, yo, like, how did we get here? So I think that in the beginning, when I was like, oh, just start. All right, I get what y'all saying. The just start thing may not be sustainable, but I needed someone to literally, whether it was a human form or angel form, to kick me in the behind for me to get started. So that's why I say just start, because then you can figure out how to be intentional as time goes on. So me just starting was helpful, and I was like able to get at least the first 10 episodes out. But then I hit a period of like, I can't do this. This is a lot. I'm by myself. When you're doing something by yourself and you lack motivation, you're looking around like, I want somebody that cares about this podcast as much as I do. Nobody cares as much as you do. If you start by yourself, even if you come up with the idea and you're sitting with your friend and you guys decide to do it together, if you were the one that said it first, no one is going to have that level of vision and dedication that because you thought of it. So that was my hardest thing, was me getting the motivation and discipline to say, this is your child. You have to take care of it. No one else is going to come and watch this baby. Nobody is going to come feed this baby. This is all you. And that is scary to someone who is 23 years old. I don't even know who I am at this point. Like, I was stressed. I took a really long break. Last year at the beginning of the pandemic, I had a mental breakdown because I was overloaded. We have this virus and now work is busy and all these things. I'm adjusting to working from home, and I lost it. Life got chaotic. And I said to myself, I have to figure out a way to do this. If I'm going to take this break, and it doesn't need to be me sitting on my behind scrolling on Instagram, like, I need to come up with a plan. And so a friend of mine at the time, like, helped me put everything together as far as content. Okay, if I'm not going to do every week, I'm at least going to do bi-weekly. My advice to anyone who is watching this, like, try to plan out your schedule, like, get a literal calendar and say, if we're going to record on Saturdays and post every Tuesday, make sure you have enough content to last you about 10 or 12 of them Tuesdays. Because if not, you're going to get to the 12th Tuesday and work is going to get busy. Life may get crazy. God forbid you get sick. You don't know. You have to plan ahead.
I know there's so many people who are watching who have this creative passion in their spirit. It could be podcasting, it could be writing and creative stuff, it could be interior decorating.
There's so many different ways we've been gifted, with skills and talents that can help other people. And so many people know that. Like, they're watching and they know that, but they're not doing it. They're not actually taking that leap.
So just any additional advice or encouragement you have for those folks who want to be where you're at?
Honestly, reach out to me, because I can definitely assist in, if I'm available in any way possible, because I think about all the questions that I had and I had no one to ask. Should I be on Buzzsprout? How many episodes should I be doing? What are people listening to? Like, that takes a lot of, you got to market research, and that's hard if you don't know where to start. And this is kind of creepy, I'm sorry, but I made a list of like the 20 most interesting people I know. I would be like going through likes and be like, okay, so they're interested in this topic, that topic. This is funny to them. Market research is so important. Find out what other people in your like target audience is talking about. That's like marketing 101, low key. Just like brainstorming, like get a whiteboard or a piece of paper and just like write everything that's in your mind. Any idea that ever comes up, I just write it down. I'm like, okay, boom, got that. Boom, got that. I could find a guest for that.
How did you keep yourself going in those moments when things got really rough? Like, how did you actually bring yourself back to your art when
the reality of the world, the reality of like your circumstances kind of threatened to overwhelm you?
I bully myself. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all, because I have some friends listeners who become friends and things like that, and they'll tell me like, if you quit again, I'm not going to listen to you if you start back up. And I need people to tell me that. Like, I have this one friend, she's so motivational. She was like, girl, don't quit again. I'm whip your ass. And I was like, ooh, gosh, don't beat me up. But it's like people like that tell you like, you better not quit. If I'm not posting content, like I'm kind of disappointed in myself and these people. So I have to like go hard, you know? You don't know how many people are like wanting to see you win, or like they see you and they're like, she's killing it right now, but they don't say it to you. And so for me, I used to be such a words of affirmation person where I needed that external validation. So that is a hard thing too, because if you don't have that, or if you're so used to getting that I'm proud of you, you have to tell yourself, and this is what I'm going to tell my kids, you should be proud of yourself. But the most random people, I had this one girl like book an astrology or tarot reading or whatever. She was like, yeah, I've been listening to your show since you started. And I was like, who is this? And you never know who is rooting for you and who is cheering for you behind the scenes. That's something that's been really surprising for me. And I'm like, yeah, I got to keep going. And then another thing was like how easy it actually is to get into a groove. When you first start, it's like you got to hike the Masada. Like, you're like, oh, okay, I got to do all that, and then when you get to the top, you're like, oh, now I gotta go back down, but it's easy, And so when you're in the thick of a situation, it's really hard to see the silver lining or to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But when you're almost at the top, you're like, oh my God, this is a breeze. I love it here. And so if you need a little bit of encouragement, y'all hit me up. I got affirmations on deck.
All right, y'all, that was my interview with Lauren. Thank you so much, girl, for taking the time to be interviewed by me. Hopefully you all feel motivated to actually start that passion project and create the art that we've all been waiting for. Go ahead and leave me a comment below. What is the podcast that you're listening to? What's the podcast you would make if you knew people would listen to it? And if you're interested in working with me, go ahead and schedule a free 30-minute call so we can touch base and see if we will be a good fit for each other. All right, y'all, that is the video. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!